A very good morning to Kenyan citizens. It is the 25th of November 2025. Karibu sana. This is the current affairs segment, your trusted source for the latest news, insightful discussions, and impactful stories shaping our nation and beyond. And today we're going to dive into what has been happening and uncover the truth behind what is shaping our nation and beyond. So make sure that you stay tuned as we break it down right here, right now. But before anything else, it is always our norm to give you that is the verse of the day. And the verse of today comes from, that is Colossians 4:2, and this is what it says. Continue steadfastly in prayer, being watchful in it with thanksgiving. So the verse of today starts by saying, continue steadfastly in prayer. Which means that don't stop praying. Pray consistently, not only in times of trouble, not only when you need something from God, but being consistent in prayer, even in times of joy. It means that you make that is prayer your lifestyle as a Christian, as a believer, so that you can keep your connection with God alive. And then it says that be watchful. It means that you need to be spiritually alert. Pay attention to what is happening, the blessings. Sometimes we lament too much, we forget to see the good things that God has done for us each and every day. Look at what is happening around you, the opportunities, the blessings, sometimes even divine direction, because even when things are chaotic, God still speaks. God is still there. And that's why you're being told that you need to be spiritually alert. And then inamalizia kwa kusema that with thanksgiving. Don't focus only on the problems. This is not working for me. I don't have money. I need food, this and that and that and that. But be thankful each and every day for what God has done for you, for what He is doing, and for what He will do for you. Because tunaambia that God always has plans for us. If you go back to Jeremiah that is 29:11. And gratitude keeps your faith strong and open doors for more blessings. So you need to have a heart of thanksgiving. And the full message of this verse is just that: pray consistently, stay spiritually awake, that is, stay alert, and remain thankful each and every day, and indeed God will work in your life. And that is the verse of the day. Now, let's head over to what has been happening, because each and every day there are new stories, and it is our responsibility to making sure you, as a Kenyan citizen, you stay updated with what is happening that is in our country and beyond. I have the Daily Nation with me, as well I have that is the Standard. And on the Daily Nation, these are some of the highlights of what we'll be checking out today. That is matters to do with the education sector. Then tutaangalia that is matters to do with the agriculture and economy, and then matters to do with development. Alafu tutaangalia mambo ya leadership and governance, a little bit of politics, and then tutaangalia that is the IBC sector. And let me start with what is on the Daily Nation, that is page 1. Among the highlights that I've checked, because it is one of the top story, it is the main story on page 1. That is, they say that reports some fungicides are weed killers outlawed for being toxic to reproduction. And that's why it's being called, that's why the headline reads, "The poison in our food." And you know, for years, Europe has banned several pesticides after scientific evidence showed that they were linked to cancer, infertility, birth defects, and endocrine disorders. Although banned in Europe, many European companies continue to export these same chemicals to developing countries, especially the African nations, and Kenya being one of them. And you know, Kenya relies heavily on agriculture, making it a big market for agrochemicals, which many agrochemicals, many of which remain under-regulated. And the question is this: they know it has been banned, but we continue to import each and every day. And that's why advocacy groups and health researchers have repeatedly raised alarms about it. And one of them is weak enforcement of pesticide laws, powerful lobbying by agrochemical companies, farmers using chemicals without training and protective gear. And on the current story, that was just a backstory of what led to the story on page 1 of the Daily Nation. And it says that the European Union continued to export pesticides that has been banned within its own borders to African nation, with Kenya being a destination of more than that is approximately 400 tons of deadly cancer-causing chemicals. And a report by a Swiss-based organization reveals that. And there are many chemicals zimekuwa mentioned hapa. I won't read all of them, but ni mingi sana. They have mentioned that is specifically banned pesticide, and then withdrawn the chemicals zenye zimekuwa withdrawn from the Kenyan market. And then hapa pia they have given a figure, that is importing kilos 473,924 kilos of banned chemicals that were imported, that is in our country, despite being banned, despite them knowing that these chemicals have a side effect either to you as a common mwananchi, to you as a farmer, and to the products as well. And the reason as to why many Kenya farmers continue to use them is because these products they're cheap. That's number one. Number two, it's because they're easily available. And number three, lack of awareness and health lack of awareness about their health risk that is coming from this product. This is not a good thing at all, because the government is aware of this, and we hope that they're going to act on this. And the impact is going that is on consumers, farmers, economy, and on government regulation. And they have mentioned some impact that is on consumers: increased exposure to carcinogens through fruits, vegetables, grains, and milk. And then still on consumers, risk of long-term health complications, including cancer, hormone disruption, infertility, and neurological problems. Now, on farmers, respiratory issues, skin problems, reproductive health damage, and increased hospitalizations. And then a lack of proper protective gear heightens the risk. And when it comes to that is our economy, we lose that is a loss of export markets if Kenya food fails international safety checks. And then still on economy, risking healthcare burden due to pesticide linked illnesses. And now lastly, that is on the government regulations. It calls for tightened pesticides law, enforcing bans, and supporting that is organic farming. Yes, let's say it can be a good thing, especially organic farming, because it doesn't involve chemicals. And then lastly, on the government, I expect pressure that is from CABS, PCPB, and Ministry of Health to act. These are just some of the things that they have mentioned. And the story is on detail. That story is in details, page 4 and 5, and it's just a repetition of everything that I've given you. That is in summary. I don't think there is anything new, but we hope that the government will work on this, because you can see that the Kenya should also enforce the Business Laws Amendment Act, that is 2024, which prohibits the importation of products banned in their country of origin. Okay, so this is something that has been in the constitution, but yet we continue to import that is in our country. Can we say it's I don't know the right time to use for it, because these are people who have been entrusted, or the officials or the leaders in those offices. Bado tu anaendelea kuzingisha. And then he also called for a revision of Kenya pesticide law to include this protection, because at the end of the day, the common mwananchi ndio ataumia, because umesikia iko na that is health risks, including that is reproductive harm, DNA mutations, nerve damage, cancer, and endocrine that is disruption. And that is what we had to check out when it comes to that is the health sector. Let's head over to something else. Other story, one of the highlights that was page 1 of the Daily Nation, and they call it a double tragedy. And you know, that is a story that imekuwa repeated. Actually, even it was repeated yesterday concerning that is Mukuru. They call it a double tragedy. A man who lost home in Mukuru caught up in Makongeni evictions, and that's why they're calling it a double tragedy. After losing his home in Mukuru, akaenda Makongeni. And now, you know, Makongeni kuna demolitions zinaendelea because the government is planning to build that is the housing project that the president has been working on. Caught in Makongeni evictions as residents win court reprieve. And Mukuru has long been an informal settlement prone to fires, demolitions, and land disputes, and residents often live with proper land documentation, making them vulnerable. And government and private developers have initiated housing or infrastructure projects leading to evictions, and that is what has led to the current story of a man who previously lost his home, and then the residents took that is the matter to court, and the court has issued that is a temporary reprieve, and humanitarian concerns have been raised over that is a forced displacement. We saw that is yesterday different statements, different comments from different people saying that they were forced to move out of their places. The government claims that they have compensated them, but to learn that there are a number of people who came out and they said they have not yet been compensated. Yes, they are supposed to move, find a home, and the approximate figure that the government was giving them, that is 150,000. And if you're not given, nyumba imeshabomolewa, where do the government expect these people to go? Because these are people with families, sisters and brothers. What will happen? And then lack of resettlement plans, and then poor communication with residents, because tuliona pia residents wengine kwa nasema that machine ilikuja tu ikaanza kubomoa vitu without telling them anything. You know, this is going to bring a great impact. Even social impact, families displacement twice, increased homelessness, psychological trauma, and then when it comes to legal impact, set precedent for courts to check on the legality of the evictions. And then when it comes, that is the policy impact, more pressure on the country and the national government to accelerate affordable housing plan. So let's see what will happen. We say that the vision is good when it comes to the housing project, because the plan was to initially make sure that 215 units, approximately 200,000 or 250,000 units are built. But what about the people who matter? Okay, because hizi nyumba zinajengwa ndio watu waishi. Don't forget, these people matter. Even if the vision is big, we say that also the people matter. And that's why that is page 2 of the Daily Nation. They have highlighted that story, and then they have mentioned that Article 10 of the Constitution mandates public participation in governance, okay, and residents and governance, and the residents argue that the process followed by the respondents fell short for this requirement. And that is, they did not follow what Article 10 of the Constitution says. And let's see if they will work on that and making sure that they compensate people first before watoe hapo kwenye wako, so that these people can know tunatoka hapa tunaenda hapa, this is how we're going to live, we'll have a place, we have the finances and everything, because many livelihoods will be affected. Don't forget we have wanafunzi walikuwa wanaenda shule, it means some of them kama wanahama itabidi pia they consider transferring their children to other schools. That is kuna cost ya school fees, kuna cost ya vitabu. It's just a lot of things, and let's see what the government will have to do about it. And there is a statement that is Mr. Sami Kioko, and this is what he said: this second demolition has broken me. I don't know where to start anymore. And I think the president should hear this, because he's the vision bearer or the vision carrier of this housing project that Yakonayo. Indeed, he should listen to their cry. And still, that is on the Daily Nation, the same story that is page 2. They say that to facilitate the violent eviction, the respondent's officer and their hired guns alleged told evidence upon residents, including sexual assault of women and girls, and said the advocate, that is what the advocate said. This is a serious case, but let's see what will happen. And away from that, let's head over to that is on other stories, matters to do with the education sector. And Kenya for years has faced a significant teacher shortage for years, and the president, that is this month, alikuwa anasema that he's working on making sure that that changes. Na akasema that for other governments they only employ, that is 5,000 teachers in an year, but for me I'm going to make sure that in an year more than that is 200 teachers are employed. We can see he's working on this. We can say indeed it is a good thing, and that has the factors include it may lead that is to teacher shortage, retirement, that is natural attrition, and increased school enrollment, and then also that is, don't forget to have that is the CBC curriculum that demands more teachers than the current number available. And all that has led to the TSC has announced that is 9,000 new vacancy to replace the teachers who have died and the teachers who have retired. And this announcement comes after schools prepare for the next academic year, that is 2026, and the commission is also planning to hire that is 24,000 intern teachers in January. And the Teacher Service Commission has advertised the position of 9,159 position as it seeks to replace some teachers. And in a notice seen by the Nation, the TSC indicated that the position will be filled on permanent and pensionable terms. Of the advertisement vacancies, that is 7,065 are in primary schools, 12 in junior schools, and 2,082 that is in secondary. And interested and qualified candidates should submit their applications online through the TSC Commission website before that is 8th of December 2025 midnight. Those are some of the things that they are mentioned, but let's say this is a good thing. At least they are working in the education sector, because imekuwa na crisis mingi sana, so that coming January the gap will be filled. And the former TSC boss, that is Nancy Macharia, had previously warned that the teacher shortage remains alarming, stating that the junior and senior schools faced a deficit of that is 98,261 teachers, and she cautioned that the gap could widen with the rollout of senior schools, that is in 2026, further straining implementation of the competency-based education. And akasema we need that is 5 billion annually to promote teachers and ensure there is no stagnation in their careers. We have over 3,000 trained unemployed teachers in our register, And the biggest issue for us is the budget. So I don't know if they are going to adjust. That is the 2025-2026 budget. We really don't know if they're going to adjust that. And currently we receive 1 billion, which can recruit only 6,000 teachers. Don't forget, the vision of our president is to employ more than 200,000 teachers, but it does not complement the amount that was given yearly. The amount that is given yearly, it's only 1 billion, which can only recruit, that is 6,000 teachers, she said while appearing before the Education National Assembly Commission. So we are to seeing the improvements that they're going to bring, that is in the education teacher in the education department. And also there's a statement that is from Mr. Yu. Alisema that the number of trained but employed teachers is nearly equal to those currently employed, underscoring the need for structured employment pathways. I can also agree with that. That is true. Kasema, there is no law supporting employment of interns beyond 12 months. So let's see what will happen when a petition that is 12 months, and the agreement is that once an intern has served for 12 months, they should be absorbed into permanent employment. The government must stop shifting goalposts. Prolonging internship compromises teachers' welfare and the quality of education. That is what we are checking out when it comes to the world of education. But indeed, we can say for the whole of this year, the education imekuwa na crisis mingi sana. One of them being the teachers shortage. And I hope as they solve this, coming January, watakuwa wamemalizana na that is the audit report, your ghost learners, ghost schools, so that they can release capitation in schools. Because they're saying the reason as to why they're not releasing capitation in schools is because hawajamaliza the audit that is for the ghost learners and the ghost schools, so that students in January, they will not be affected and there will be a smooth transitioning that is in the education. And let's shift our focus on matters to do that is to do with the development. And on page 1 of the Daily Nation, one of the highlights that had mentioned is they call it development, first world ambition on track. You know, that is Malaysia Prime Minister visited Kenya. And the backstory of this is Kenya and Malaysia, we have that is diplomatic and economic ties. And Malaysia is considered a model for rapid development, transitioning from agriculture to a middle-income economy. President William Ruto has been pursuing that is partnership for quite some time. And the partnership as to support that is in the industrialization and in the investment. And the story is on page 6. Let's check it out and see what they discussed. And that on page 6, Malaysia Prime Minister Prime Minister says Kenya on track to join the first world. Indeed, we can say this is a good thing. And some of the discussions or the areas that they discuss are investment opportunities, which is a good thing because honestly, it is going to boost our economy as a country. And then that is technology transfer, manufacturing partnerships, and then that is education and collaboration. And the president has outlined plans. He says will see Kenya become a global leader. And the President William Ruto ambition to steer Kenya toward the first world status has revealed backing from visiting that is Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim. And Mr. Ibrahim said that the goal is achievable and that Kenya is on the right trajectory. Do you think as a Kenyan citizen, with everything that has been happening, matters to do with corruption, okay, high taxes, with everything that has been happening since last year, the Gen Z mandamano, the economic instability that we have been experiencing in our country, do you think according to the statement that you have given, can you second him? Can you agree with him that we are on the right trajectory into becoming the first world country? Can you agree with him? Please get to talk to us on 0799200100. I'll be so glad to hear from you. And to continue, Malaysian, one of the renowned Asian tigers, is often cited by President Ruto as a model for Kenya, which is currently classified as lower middle income country. Okay. And the first world countries are generally defined by Human Development Index, strong democratic institutions, and a high gross domestic product. But we saw what we have from the report that was released last week in the GDP. Munona imambo ni tofauti. And we have seen that is in recent months, the president has devoted that is a significant airtime to agenda of elevating that is Kenya's economic standing, arguing that the country processes the resources and the human capital and need to join that is the global leaders. These are some of the things that tumesikia the president repeat that is this month. And yesterday, Bado Tulina Mizpah Ibrahim said that he was making the right policy choices. He singled out affordable housing as one of the fundamental pillars that could help lift Kenyans from its developing countries. Talking about the affordable housing, Pia, tupe maoni yako, and probably you're watching us and you're watching and you are living in that house. What is the experience so far? So good. We'll be so glad to hear. And akaendelea kasema that we have seen under your stewardship the determination to propel not only the economy but the infrastructure and to ensure Kenya emerges as a great nation. That is what Mr. Ibrahim said. And he added that I have seen the potential, I have seen the enormous strides made in the housing sector, which is truly commendable. I don't think many countries, including Malaysia, has moved that fast or that effective because of because you have passion to provide housing for people, particularly the poor. Probably they could also have remembered kuna watu nyumba zinabomolewa and they don't have a place to go, and still they have not been compensated. I hope they could have mentioned, I wish they could have mentioned that. And the Prime Minister said that he was convinced that Kenya progress under President William Ruto will eventually bear fruits. So talking about fruits, do you think you're bearing fruits as a Kenyan citizen? There are many things that he mentioned. I can't mention all of them because zote zinaangazia what the president has been doing that is in our country, especially for the whole of this year, and other things as well. And they say that to strengthen cooperation, Kenya and Malaysia signed several bilateral instruments across key sectors. These include bilateral air services agreement aimed at easing travel and enhancing trade and tourism. And the agreement establishes a regulatory framework under which airlines from two countries will operate international flights, and then a memorandum under the standing on tourism, and another between the national chambers of both chambers of commerce of both countries aimed at promoting trade and investment. These are some of the things that were signed. I hope they provide more details about it. And also, the president announced that Malaysia will help Kenya to deepen its semiconductor technology and manufacturing capabilities. And the two leaders reaffirmed their commitment to removing tariffs and non-tariff barriers, expanding Kenya's export to Malaysia. This is a good thing, and strengthening cooperation in digital technology and high-tech manufacturing. And the impact of this when it comes to that is the economy sector. Potential will be having that is potential for investment in manufacturing, diplomatic strengthening in Kenya and Malaysia relations. And then when it comes to the young people, that is lastly a possible expansion in vocational training and skills exchange program. Indeed, we can say our president's anajituma, making sure that the vision that he has for our country, becoming the first world country, comes to pass, or it happens. Kwa hivyo, what do you have to say about everything that I've mentioned about the conversation that they had with that is the Prime Minister of Malaysia, Ibrahim? And let's shift our focus on other stories, matters to do with our country, matters to do with leadership and governance. All eyes now on the IEBC as campaigns wind up, and 181 candidates square off. The IEBC responsible for elections and have faced past criticism over its credibility and the preparedness for that is the elections coming 2027. And to learn the by-elections, they arise due to resignations, death, court nullifications, and other story. But now the IBC, after completing that is the by-elections, is under pressure. They need to demonstrate that it's transparency, reliability, and security. And the security agencies have deployed officers to maintain order. And that's why page 1 of the Daily Nation among the highlights campaigns for Thursday by-election marked by widespread political tensions, violence, and fierce rivalry officially concluded yesterday, 48 hours before polling stations open. A total of 181 candidates will face off in 24 electoral areas left vacant due to deaths, cabinet appointments, or court nullifications of the 2022 election. The story is on page 10, and this is going to bring that is a great impact, that is kutakuwa na political impact, public trust, and many things as well. And we are on page 10 of the Daily Nation. And as I read, all eyes on IBC as campaigns wind up, 181 candidates face off. And in addition to that, Dr. Mukwa said that the government will deploy both plainclothes and uniform police officers in identified hotspots to deter violence, protect voters, and safeguard integrity of the elections. And we are engaging all available security operators, including plainclothes officers, to monitor areas where contest is highly competitive. Our responsibility is to ensure no Kenya is harmed in the process of choosing their leaders. Also, he added that he is the leaders to ensure their supporters respect electoral rules and maintain peace. And there is no place for chaos before, during, or after voting. Leaders must understand that their conduct directly influences the behavior of the followers or the people who are voting for them. These are some of the things that they mentioned to determine that is their preparedness. And some of the poll areas and the seats that they fell vacant, kuna Ugunja, and then we have that is Malava, we have that is Mbeere North, after Godfrey Ruku's appointment to the cabinet secretary, that is in April 2025. Then we have that is Banisa, and that became vacant following the death of MP Hassan Kulo in a road accident, and then 2023. And then we have that is Magarini was declared vacant after the Supreme Court upheld the nullification of Harrison Kombe election. And then we have that is Kasipul fell vacant following the murder of MP Charles, that is in April 30th, 2025. And then lastly, that is Baringo, the senatorial seat fell vacant following the death of the Senator William Cheptumo, and that happened, that is in February, that is 16th, 2025. And these are some of the things that they mentioned. There are many stories in zimetajwa hapa. And let's see what will happen as Kenyans are to maintain peace and making sure that they participate in that is electing their leaders. And this, as I've said, this is going to bring political impact because it determines the balance of power between that is the local and the national pensions. Left-hand matters to do with that is public trust, a smooth transition that can rebuild that is the confidence in the IBC. If everything goes well, I believe people will trust the IBC and also the opposition leaders or the people in the opposition as well. And lastly, matters to do with security, avoidance of violence during and after voting. Those are some of the impacts that we are expecting as they continue the elections. And we have that is 5 minutes as we went up. Probably we can check that is one story matters to do with politics, page 6, and that has to do with the national news. And they call it a dispute. Mr. Kenyatta's jubilee is inconsistent with the political aspirations of Mount Kenya region, claims that is the ex-deputy president Rigathi Gachagua. And the former DP has taken on Kenyatta's party for a field candidate that is in Narok MCA race. And also there is no political truce in sight between the former president NURU Kenyatta and the Democracy for Citizens Party, that is the DCP leader Rigathi Gachagua, over the control of Mount Kenya coming 2027 election. I don't know if we can say still the DCP, that is Rigathi Gachagua, still he has influence that he had before huko January na huko when it comes to the Mount Kenya region. We don't know if we can say truly 100% he still have influence over that place. And while Mr. Kenyatta controls the Jubilee Party, which declared a special purpose vehicle for Mount Kenya region, Mr. Gachagua insists DCP holds that mandate. And Mr. Gachagua has now used the Narok Township MCA by-election on Thursday to argue that Mr. Kenyatta Jubilee Party is inconsistent. And this is despite Mr. Kenyatta having sanctioned his deputy, that is Dr. Fred Matiang'i, to join the United Opposition Brigade as a principal tasked with helping craft a single presidential candidate to challenge President William Ruto that is coming 2027. Exema, I don't understand this jubilee. Maybe they will start behaving consistently and in line with what the United Opposition stands for. Mr. Gachagua said that is on Sunday while addressing that is the Ma community through a vernacular language in a radio station. This is some of the matters to do with politics. As they prepare themselves, that is for the 2027 elections. Let's see, bado hii campaign wanafanya, and let's see what will happen, because Mr. Gachagua, we can see interestingly, while Mr. Gachagua has been traversing the Mount Kenya region, apologizing for bringing Dr. Ruto to them, he now shifts the blame to Mr. Kenyatta. Don't forget, walikuwa pamoja during time election. So I don't understand why he's bringing the shift to Mr. Kenyatta. And now he's declared, in Mount Kenya, I am the present and I am the future. Mr. Kenyatta is in the past and retired. Political scientist John Oku believes the rift between the two leaders stems from the question of the 2027 presidential candidate and the control over the political benefit. So, do you agree with that statement? I am the current and I am the future. It brings that aspect here. Indeed, we can say he is confident that he has influence that is in the Mount Kenya region. Those are some of the stories that we had to check today and what has been happening in our country, because each and every day there are new stories, and it is a responsibility to making sure that you as a Kenyan citizen, you stay updated on what is happening. Just a reminder that Mizpah House of Prayer will be hosting that is the annual prophetic prayer congress that we'll be having this coming month, that is from the 1st to the 5th of December 2025. That is next week. I'll be having great and powerful servants of God. And I believe we usually say each and every time God gathers his people in his presence, there's an agenda, there's something that God has for you. Please purpose to attend. It is an interdenominational meeting. All people of all age groups mmekaribishwa nyinyi wote. Please tell a friend to tell a friend. Come ready to receive your miracle. For accommodation and booking purposes, please contact 07-277-66553. I'll be so glad to have you. My name is Angela Kabete. Till next time, God bless you abundantly. Bye-bye.